Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back to Suara Kita nih. Hey everyone. So today we're with Pangeran Adi Fadli, Pangeran Omar. So we'll be discussing on the topic of employment and marketability of graduates in 2020. So a little bit background of Pangeran Adi, or should we say Adi? Adi is a business management graduate majoring in HR, human resource, from University of Queensland, Australia. So his experience extends to 10 years of HR working experience. So he's also involved in oil and gas, property, hospitality management, and many more. So welcome. Let's welcome Pangeran Adi. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, how are you? How are you,
Alhamdulillah,
Shafi?
Alhamdulillah. So how's
Alhamdulillah.
Semayang Jumat today?
Unfortunately, I'm not in the right color code
Oh, I
to
see, see,
join
see.
that. Yeah,
It's okay,
so
it's okay.
yeah, I was looking forward to go to, but my family members got telah in not in the apa ni, right situation lah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, understand. So maybe to start with, maybe you can explain what does an HR professional do?
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Um, Thanks for the introduction, Shafi. Basically, yeah, as you know, my name is Pingan Edi Fali, Pingan Omar. I'm actually a HR graduate from University of Queensland. That was back in 2006, I believe so. Um, as a basis of answering Shafi's question in terms of HR professional or what does HR actually do, I'd like to have this two-way conversation. Maybe Shafi, just a quick understanding. What is your view of HR?
I mean, from the word itself, ada
Yes, from the word
human,
itself.
ada resource. So basically, you manage people in a company. That's my first thought lah.
Correct. Okay, and again, that's not wrong. It's not wrong. So human resource does a lot of things. It's not basically hiring and firing people. That's not it. It's more into that detail. What they actually do mainly is looking at recruitment. Yeah, the first part of the recruitment, business partnering, um, training and developments, operational excellence, and obviously what do you call this? Employee relations. So yeah, this kind of word is quite big. In a nutshell, what it means, you manage people. You manage people from the day they entered into the company, from the day they leave the company, either through retirement, through attritions, meaning to say through maybe through end of contract, or I think worst case scenario, termination. Um, I'm pretty sure the audience understands in terms of human resources. You deal with humans. You deal with people with different behaviors. Now, that's of course at a point of view when it comes to HR. You not only look into humans, but you also have to look into business. Now, the business is the people who is the company or is the organization that requires people, right? When you look at it, you look at the basis of getting the right people, right? The right skill at the right time, at the right position. So, having said that, you then have to manage them when they enter the organization in terms of performance management. That includes culture, providing them what is the value of the organization, combining that with their own core values, their own what do you call this, principles and whatnot. And that's actually quite important for every individual. And not only performance management, but also we talk about trainings and development. HR does look into those spaces. Of course, in business partner, sorry, of course, in this case, when you do trainings and development, you partner with the business, right? When I say partner with business, you partner with the organization or with the department, with the clients, and from there you will then understand the nature business of the organization. Different departments have different understanding of HR, definitely, but everybody wants one thing: the right people, right? When they have the right
Yep,
people, they can
definitely.
pretty sure, you know, punya orang kalau punya orang jalankan bisnes satu dengan
Mm,
sendirinya sudah,
mm,
you know. And obviously, at this point in time, you know, we every organization, especially in Brunei, or any other countries actually, they want experienced people. Uh, but that's the whole point of having a training and development, you see.
mm,
That's why HR does the point where they provide schemes, they provide programs, they provide training competencies for the specific, for graduates, for non-graduates, whoever, for them to increase and improve themselves to be better, right? So not only becoming the right skill, but of course having the right mindset. Now, when I say the right mindset, I'm talking about behaviors. So HR does that too. But the responsibility is not only HR, but also together with the line, or together with the supervisor, the managers, or the directors, whoever, because they also play a big role in ensuring that their people are in the right mindset, are in the right behavior. Would you want to hire, or would you want somebody who doesn't come to work, who comes late to work, for example? But everybody comes to work early, everybody comes to work on time, and this one person or two comes late, and it's normal.
yep.
Shouldn't be like that. So what do you do as a HR? What do you do? I mean, you wouldn't be able to monitor them 24 hours. No. So you give the responsibility, obviously, to the managers, to the supervisors, to provide their inputs, and you trust their input. You trust their what do you call this, attention or perception. Yeah. Okay. So then the other part is the employee and relationships, or employee relations. Basically, looking into incompliancy, integrity of the individuals, of the employees, and uh, in this case, we talk about disciplinary action lah. So people who are not attending to work, or who are absent from work, what do? You gotta settle things. Yeah, you gotta find out. You have to investigate and whatnot. Then at the end of the day, whether in the investigation is positive or negative, always look into the right thing to do. We look at precedent cases and whatnot lah. Employee relations, meaning to say, um, you can end up in the consequence management point of view. So that's probably a concept of human resource. There's more to that because, like I said, HR on its own in general is quite big. And I hope the audience and yourself will be able will understand that. Again, this is probably my view of human resource. I'm pretty sure some HR professionals out there in Brunei, especially, would have the same, or probably would have something bigger than that.
Right. Very good. I would say a very good explanation. I learned something new from HR,
No worries.
from that our my apa, perspective to your
Mm-hmm.
explanation too. So I think for the viewers out there, make sure you take notes. Maybe write down some of these things down, because after this we're gonna touch on the topic. So before we go further, maybe you can explain your experience in the oil and gas business, because from what I when I found you on LinkedIn, that I found that 10 years of experience is very, yes. I think that's what made me ask you, ano lah, to be on this guest on this podcast. So yeah, maybe you can explain.
Um, so yeah, I started my career. A bit of history and my background. So I started my career in property management.
Oh, I see.
That's in Bandar Seri Begawan, for a good 6 months. Before I was, I got the lucky draw or the lucky number to get into Shell.
Oh,
Um, so I didn't had any. I mean, just to go back, I didn't had when I was in property management. I didn't had any property management background or anything. I was just clueless of what I'm going to do. But I told myself I need to venture into something that I'll be useful for myself, so I can be able to grow and improve from the reality point of view. Now, the property management that I work with is quite it's a small company, but there's quite a big what do you call this, big investment in terms of property. So and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a while back. I believe it's about 50 shop lots, and that's quite a lot. And to handle that, you do need time, and you do need the right organization. I mean, the right organized mind. And I wasn't sure I was highly organized, but it grew me better. And from there, and I said to myself, okay, this could be a good opportunity. 6 months after that, I got a call from Shell, and they said they want me to be interviewed and whatnot. And alhamdulillah, I got through, and I got in. I got in as a graduate under the program, graduate program, where it looks into human resource. And then back then, I believe back in 2007, that was the year I got recruited. I I believe there was no much of a human resource graduates. I might be wrong, but it was a niche market, to be honest with you. Um, and I had the opportunity to learn while I was there in Shell. I had the opportunity to learn, starting with BLNG, the business, and took me a while because it's oil and gas, you see, and it's probably something that I'm not familiar with. I heard about it, I wasn't sure about it. But you see, as a graduate, everything is you're unsure.
Yep.
Um, and when you're unsure and you don't have the proper guidance, or I think back then when you had when your mom and dad say ambil saja kerja tu, ambil saja kerja tu, and that's what you do. Yeah, I took it. I took because I didn't know what I was heading into. But hearing that Shell is one of the reputable company in Brunei, and why not? I said, I probably get to learn more. And yes, I did. I learned a lot, and I learned a lot about the business, and I learned a lot about the organization, and especially I learned about human resource. So yeah, back then I thought, when I did the course human resource in Australia, I thought it was, when we did the modules and whatnot, yeah, it's all about hiring, firing. It's all about organizational excellence, all about organization hierarchy and whatnot. Uh, but when you're there in the real world, it's totally different.
Yep.
It's how you understand the business and how can you help the business to grow. Having had the right people, the right skill, the right mindset, the right behavior to the right position. So was I in the right position at that particular time? I was, because I had passion about human resource. After that, years and years and growing into that organization, I found out that I do like to be engaged, and I do like to have that conversation with people, regardless who, either the top level or the lowest level. And to be honest with you, all are humans,
Mhm.
right? All have their own particular skills. All have their own particular behavior. At the end of the day, that's where you learn. So as a people management, I would say, I end up learning more about people, more about their own behaviors and their patterns of behaviors. And that make me excited because you then can help the organization to fulfill, for example, I think it's quite a big jargon word here is succession planning.
Succession
You,
planning.
you so basically you plan people to move to a particular position for the organization, in order for the organization to achieve goals. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. For example, like I'll take your example, Shafi. Yeah.
Yep.
So you are an engineer, correct?
Yep.
Right? Yeah.
Not yet,
So
actually.
oh well, yeah, you're doing it now. So you're an engineer. That's how I see it. Okay. You have the right behavior. You have the right skill. Down the 2 years of knowing you, I would say, okay, you will be probably good at this particular role, maybe a supervisor role, and I make sure your name goes in there. But I will need that evidence to tell me that you are suitable for the position. Not only the fact that you have to be interviewed and whatnot before you move to that position, but the fact that you have the right behavior, you have the right skill, and I know for a fact, 2 years knowing you, get to, in terms of your capability, in terms of your achievement, and in terms of relationship, you can be up there. So that's called succession planning. So moving you to another position, preparing you for that position.
Right.
So yeah, that's key for some human resource anyway,
Mm.
and that helps the organization to actually grow and actually, and of course the organization will rely on HR to provide that input,
Yep.
because from time to time they all focus on technical, right?
Mm.
Human resource focus on non-technical, but they do need to understand the technical bit in order for them to contribute for the organization. So over the years, I understood about human resource, and it gave me the opportunity to learn the technical bit. And this is where I'm coming from. When I learned the business, I learned the technical bit, and it got me excited because I learned about things like HSE,
Mm.
health, safety, environment. No idea what was that until I reached there. I learned about operational. I learned about plant engineering. I learned about mechanical engineering. You name it. And Shell was probably one of the best place for me to learn, quite fast actually. Fast paced kind of learning curve for me, and it's exciting enough for me at that particular time. And I had really good what do you call this, mentors, coaches, and I would say a lot of friends down in Shell, um, because we help each other. We don't leave each other behind, because one day, and we all have this in mind, I have this in mind, one day we'll be managers, one day we'll be supervisors, and we still have to work with each other. At the end of the day, we're one team. And when we're one team, we know that we can help the organization to grow. Not only grow, stable. Not only stable, what do you call this? Consistent. And that helps us, and that helps me. Then obviously over the years with BSP, I learned more about offshore. I learned more about deep deep dive engineering, and it's and that's cool actually. And like I said, it got me excited, and I was really wanting to learn more deeper. And even having said 10 years of experience, or more than 10 years of experience in Shell, it wasn't enough, because you have to learn more about it. Because believe it or not, day by day, technology changes, right?
Yep.
Engineering structures, or what do you call this, all these machines changes, right? And it wasn't enough for me. I wanted more. I wanted to learn more. But in terms of human resource, there are always there's time for us to go at the limit, because we still have to focus on the human bit. And that is, and for example, like performance management. But we still need to understand the technical bit. So it's always a continuous learning for me, and I'm still learning. So, but definitely at a different organization, different discipline. So yeah,
Wow,
hope
that's a
that's a good.
very long history of experience. So thanks for sharing that. I'm pretty sure. So people who are like up and coming graduates would like to listen to that. So going to the
Inshallah.
topic of employment and marketability of graduates, specifically in 2020. So what do you think the demand here in Brunei here, the industry is going, the trending industry here in Brunei currently?
Alhamdulillah, what I've been hearing, or what I've also been listening for the past few months, um, in Brunei, the trending of employment is getting up there. It's getting up there, and I'm hearing a lot of graduates having that opportunities. And thank you to the Ministry of, I believe it's Manpower, Job Center, I
Mm,
believe
yep,
so, Job Center Brunei. Uh, I think there's a program called iReady.
yep,
Um, I think it's a really good program, whereby it helps graduates to prepare them for the reality of business, or the reality of being in a company. I mean, if somebody enters a company and you think you are able to do it, yeah, you are able to do it, but there's a lot of things you have to learn. And having said that, and I feel the employment rate in Brunei has increased. But I guess in terms of amount of unemployment, in terms of graduates, that's quite a lot. I mean, it's a kind of big competition at the moment, and I believe so. It's a healthy competition, whereby each graduates need to compete in providing the right mindset, the right behavior. You might have the skills, but you need to have the right behavior too. If you're committed just at one time, and you're not consistent with being committing to your job, then obviously you're on the fall. And how would you get yourself back up? Probably that's a question for each individual. I wouldn't be able to answer that, because I have my own opinion, I have my own view, and I have and you probably, Shafi, as well, you have your own view as well in terms of this. But the trending in employment in Brunei has increased, I believe so. Especially with
That's good to
the
hear.
recent press conference that you has mentioned that there has been an ongoing 100 plus interviews going on for iReady and other job opportunities or job seekers in Brunei. So not only for graduates, but also for those who are unemployed. So of course, I think with this current COVID-19 pandemic, I guess um, uh, I don't know. It's a blessing that we see a lot of opportunities coming up soon. I didn't see this happen last year. No, I think last year we probably had in the human resource world, we probably had only a handful of jobs available. But this year, Alhamdulillah, it has increased. It's just a matter of finding the right people. That's all. And I hope and I wish every organization find the right people, and I hope and I wish for every job seekers that includes graduates and non-graduates to find their dream job. And it doesn't really matter where their dream job is, either in Shell, non-Shell, in hospitality or non-hospitality and whatnot. So yeah.
So you said about the situation currently with COVID-19, and
Mm-hmm.
you said about jobs. There are more jobs. Is that correct?
Yep, yep, yep.
So
I'm seeing a lot of jobs, especially when you go through Job Center website. There's a lot of postings of jobs availability. Nganya tinggal seorang or each individual's opinion whether it's something they want to do or something they don't want to do. I can't say jangan terpemilih, jangan terpemilih, ambil saja apa yang ada. I can't say that. It's everybody punya itulah, punya opinion juga kan.
opinion, yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if you just take the job, are you gonna be happy? I don't know. I really don't know. But if it's something that you're comfortable with, not living with, then yeah, why not, kan?
Yep.
Um, but as a human, as an individual, we can't force people to say, "Hey, take this job." I wouldn't say that. I'm not a parent myself, but I I but my opinion stays as it is. If you're happy with the job and you're able to live with it, then go for it. But if you're not able to live with it, then it's entirely up to you. But don't stay too long. Uh, but if there's a job available and yeah, it's not something that you want, take it. It maybe contradicts what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, you don't want to wait 2 3 years to find the right job, right? You need to do something to get yourself moving, And it's just to relate to my experience back in 2006. I didn't have any property management qualification. I didn't have any hospitality qualification, but I just took it because there I learned. I think reality is that's the reality of it, lah.
So wait, how did you get that get into that hospitality industry? Actually, I'm curious now. No.
how do I get into? Oh, I applied for the job. I mean, the property manager, the first job that I had. That you're referring to the first job, right?
Yep. Because
Yeah. So
you're major in HR, right? So
yeah, I
yeah.
major in HR. So I don't know. I was pretty lucky. I wasn't looking at the salary. No.
Mm.
Um, I that was my secondary. I was looking for the experience. Um, if you notice, uh, in every jobs that's been advertised, they always say, or most will say, you need at least 5 to 10 years experience,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I think we can get into that in a bit, but yeah. Continue.
Okay, so I'll just say it like anyway. So as a graduate, you don't have that experience.
Yep.
So how would you get those experience? So the question that, how would you get those experience? So I asked myself back then, how would I get that experience? I mean, I don't have HR. I want to do HR, but I don't have HR experience. But they need experience. They need the word 5 to 10 years experience. So I said, okay, I'll just take any job. And that motivates me because being there for 6 months helps me to learn and understand how the reality works. And at least I have 6 months of experience in the property management and hospitality gitu kan. So that's an advantage for me. At the end of the day, I didn't lose anything, even though gaji the berapa, but I didn't lose
Yeah,
anything
you gonna
because I gained
experience.
experience.
Yep.
Exactly. So I look at a positive point of view. Money was not my primary. Was totally my secondary lah. So for those graduates out there, or for those who have no experience or less of experience, if you think that if you feel that you are capable to do the job, then do it. I mean, the reality of it, you need the experience, and that's why with this iReady that Job Center has offered, it's a beautiful program. Um, that provides opportunity for all graduates or non-graduates as well, to gain experience. And there's always a challenge that we all face anyway. But it's a nice challenge to have, you Allah.
So talking about graduates, what do you say the biggest mistake of graduates after graduating? What do you see the mistakes being made when looking for a job?
Mm, how I see things in terms of graduates is, they have the piece of paper, sudah, right?
Mm, yep.
They have the piece of paper
Yeah,
that says they have bachelor degree in
yep.
in 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 in, in their own respective discipline. Um, it goes back to the market, yeah. Um, what is the current trend that we have in in this world, actually, not only in Brunei, in this world, and what is the most demanding, what do you call this, discipline that company wants. Sometimes the discipline that the company wants is not the individual or the graduates punya kemahuan je kan.
Mm,
So it becomes a conflict, yeah. So for example, the today's company wants an IT engineer. I am an engineer, but I do mechanical. Can I apply for that job? Can I get that job? I don't know. I don't think so. Um, that's a graduate point of view, betul.
mm,
Kiranya macam it's an IT, I'm a mechanical engineer. How will I be able to get the job? And how will I be able to cater that sort of discipline? That's why it goes back. It goes back to the current trending. Now, um, I think personally, graduates doesn't have they don't they mistakes is normal to hear. Common mistakes, I would probably say none. You can't I can't blame the graduates for taking that this sort of discipline. I can't blame you, Shafi, to take an engineering discipline, because that's what you like to do, that's what you want to do. Yeah,
yep.
because that's how you see yourself in the next future, that to contribute to to the company and also to Brunei, to be able to become a mechanical engineering. I don't know. Yeah, I mean that is your want kan, atau your kemahuan kan. I wouldn't say mistakes, but I would say the right opportunity. Yeah? So graduates at this point where they see themselves is apa dorang punya niat itu kan? What is their purpose kan tu? What do they want actually to do? What do they want to do? What? What is it? Why do they want to do it? You know, it goes back to that question, bah. So so going back to like a HR, I want to do HR. Why do I know HR? Because I want to learn about HR. Why do I want to learn about HR? Because I want to understand the business. How does HR relate to the business? Why do you want to understand about the HR? You know, why do you want to understand HR in the business? Because I want to understand people. Why do you want to understand people? Because you want to learn the pattern of the people. So that's me. So, but it was too late for me back then lah. Aku kelambatan sudah lah with that niat lah tu. But I managed to get back to that thinking 2 years or a year and a half after that. And that changed my mindset. So I would relate this for graduates to think about themselves, to self-reflect. What do they want to do?
What do you do?
You know, what do they want to do? What do you want to do for yourself, Shafi? When you graduate nanti, what do you want to do? You're an engineer. What do you want to do? Do you want to become a mechanic, or do you want to become a specialist in engineering? You know, so how do you gonna get there? How? So you want experience. You want the right trainings. What sort of trainings you want? So those are the questions that you can ask yourself as a graduate, and this goes to all graduates anyway. Um, and like I said, there's not much. I wouldn't say there's mistakes done by graduate. It's pretty challenging word for me to say that, but I wouldn't say it's mistakes. It's more about opportunities. Kalau ngam opportunity ada, take it, right? And when you take it, this is when you ask yourself, what do I want to do? What do I want to do with it? You know, how do I get to it? And why do I do it? It goes back to that sort of questions. So then when you come to that end of your question, it's now the question that you ask yourself is, how are you going to do it? And when you do your how bit, that's when you grow easily. That's when you grow easily. And that's where, you know, graduates need to think. And now, utilizing that information that I just provided, you can use it during in an interview. Now, when you go to an interview and people ask you, what do you want to do? What do you like to do? You know, so when you find your purpose in life or purpose in the job that you are wanting to get, you can understand. You can then provide the right information based on what you understand to the person who received the answer. For example, or interview panels lah. So interview panels will have sets of questions. I can tell you that they have sets of questions. But the most, if you understand the question, the most common question talks about why, what, how, and graduates need to figure that out too, because you know, if you do not know the why, then you do not know the what, and you wouldn't know the how. And that's why, like I said, it's not a mistake. I wouldn't say a mistake. It's just the right opportunity, the right time saja. I think on the other bit, behavior. You know, I think also that's one of the common thing that everybody needs to have it, the right behavior. If you do not have the right behavior, I mean, I wouldn't say a mistake, Shafia, in this case.
That's good.
I keep on repeating that because we learn by mistakes anyway, right? We make mistakes every day. We make mistakes every day. I make mistakes every day. Either big or small, doesn't really matter. I make mistakes. And when I make mistakes, I learn from it. Now the question is, when you make mistake, how would you learn from it, right? So you as a graduate, everybody out there as a graduate, or less of experienced people, When you make mistakes in your job or in the things that you do, what would you do? Do you go sad about it? Do you go, do you go depressed about it? What do you do?
Yeah, we need to
That's the
learn from
question
it.
you ask.
Yeah.
Exactly, you learn from it. If you don't learn from it, you won't be able to grow and
Mm.
improve yourself, right? So when when a graduates enter an interview, always perhatikan diri. When I say take attention to yourself, because sometimes you say it's just what you say, wah. Kadang-kadang
Mm.
ni orang berbual saja, wah, tapi
Mm.
nada maksud or probably apa niya kalau ni orang Brunei ada isi, wah.
Mm.
And and I tell you, human resource recruiters, they can capture that. They can really capture that. And again, I wouldn't say that's a mistake. It's something that andang sendiri betul.
Mm.
Terjadi dengan sendirinya, wah. So you need to be aware of that lah. Perhatikan diri when you talk. So what I would advise actually to for graduates when you do, before you enter interview, look yourself in the mirror, talk to yourself, see what comes out. And perhatikanlah, dengar apa yang you are talking about. So test yourself with question and find out what did you say. What you say, if it's what you say is correct, it's coming from from you yourself, then that's who you are. But if it's something that you say, oh, I don't know what I just talked about, then
Mm.
that's something that you need to figure out lah dulu.
Mm.
So be worried about that in terms of behavior, in terms of your pattern of talking, Joa. Um, what we're also looking is the walk the talk. Not nato lah nyarang na, and then no
Mm.
action talk on dia, no macam tu Joa. So you have to portray that lah. Because at the end of the day, what I would tell the graduates, what I would tell the audience and the graduates is, you could be the future of future of Brunei, and you
Mm.
are actually, because once you become a leader, the people below you will look up to you, and when they look up to you, they want to be somebody like you, and it's a continuous cycle. Maybe people down there will look up to me. Maybe people at my level will look up to me. Maybe people on top of me will look up to me. But at the end of the day, it's about, for me, is being empathy and sympathy, and that has to be a true. That should be a true leader lah out there lah. It's a kind of difficult one, um, because you have a KPI to achieve, Johan.
Mm.
Uh, um, I know it's a bit of out of topic, but at the end of the day, what's true is you need to self-reflect, John. You need to see how you pay attention to yourself. Yalah, ask the what, the why, and the how. And hopefully, inshallah, that will be your starting point.
Yep. Yeah, but there's questions from IG. So specifically on interviews. So yeah, maybe you can go specific on this. So uh, Mirul Manan says, ask how to ace an interview in any oil and gas industry. So there's this another question quite similar by that Bruneian dude. What are the tips and tricks to excel in interviews? So basically, one us to be specific on oil and gas, and yeah, what the another is to generally how to excel in interview.
Okay. I'd be general for both of the questions. I could not be specific because I believe in every interview has its own points. Yeah. I would say preparation.
Preparation.
Preparation for your interview is important. Now, the companies that you're applying for, right? Okay. You would know what their business are. You don't know, what do you do? Look it up. I mean, we have Mr. Google,
Mm.
or Mr. Yahoo, if he still exists.
Mm.
These are the people who can help you, find out what do they do in terms of their business. I mean, take for example, now I could say to each of them and I say, okay, you're going for an interview in say Empire, okay, Empire Hotel. Or you can have you'll probably have an interview at BMC, Brunei Methanol Company. Doesn't really matter, right? One is oil and gas, and one is hospitality management. So if you're that individual and you know what you applied for, you will have to prepare yourself. So what do you do? One, you research about them, research about what they do. You know, if they share information about, for example, their KPIs, they share information what their mission and vision, learn their mission and vision, understand their mission and vision. And if they don't have mission and vision, and that's fine. Understand what do they do as a business. And when you understand what they do, then you understand where can you relate your experience or your qualification or your current behavior on the what, why, and how bit in relation to the company that you applied for. And obviously, when you have, I, okay, that's probably not a proper word to use, but I would say when you don't have anything to say, don't say.
Mm.
That's probably one of the things that I see a common things. Ni orang berbual lah tu, jangan terbual. Biarlah satu saja. You know when the interview asks you a question, for example, what is your name?
Mm.
Yeah, my name is Pengiran Edifali bin Pengiran Omar bin. You want to go on?
Mm.
Don't. That's the answer. That's your answer. Jangan terdilabihi lah.
Mm.
Because takut kadang when you bual, you will then the interviewer will capture your true reflection lah.
Mm.
Because you have to admit that when it comes to when you are a graduate, you wouldn't know all bah.
Mm. Yeah.
I'll be you'll be lying to yourself. You say if you know all. I would be lying to myself if I say no, I know everything. No, I will admit if I don't know, I don't know.
Mm.
So it's important to prepare yourself. Okay, do research, understand the job, understand the business. Now, some companies share the job description, and some company doesn't. And when they share job description, sometimes it's a test. I'm telling this on experience saja lah.
Mm.
When it's a test, meaning to say that you need to learn the job. What
Mm.
do they do? So sometimes interview asks, have you read the job description? And and you say yes, that means there's a question there.
Oh,
Yeah?
see,
There's a question there. Yeah.
see.
That's based on my experience. Now, if a company does not display the job description, only display the summary of the job, and that's for you to research. Yeah,
Mm.
what do they do? You know, take for example, you are applying for uh, let's go an IT role. Let's go
Mm.
for an IT role. You're applying for an IT role on hardware. So the summary says that the purpose of the job is for you to fix any hardware activities or hardware computers in the organization. Very simple, right?
Yep.
Very simple. But then you need to understand what sort of hardware do they have in that company? How would you find out? Hence, you need to do research, right? So that's when you need to go in details. If it's something that you know in terms of hardware, then you can relate in terms of what you have gone through in terms of your qualification, in terms of what you have learned when back in school or back in the institute, then apply it in that sense. And that's when people would like to have that conversation. Now, in terms of, I mean, that would be it. Basically, do your research, get to understand the job description. Job description, understand the job summary. Then that's when you go details about it. Sometimes when you're lucky, again, this is probably based on other people's experiences. They just advertise the job title.
Mm.
So there's no reason for you to say, I don't have to research. I can ask this question later during the interview. What is the job description? No, don't wait. Look for something. Be proactive in this sense. So be proactive. Prepare yourself. Do research and understand the job. Okay, and how would you apply your current qualification, or how would you apply that in the in your skills or your strengths into the apa ni, into the organization or into the company. I think that's one of the things that you need to understand lah. The other thing is about behavior lah. So yes, it's quite common. Behavior is plays a big role. You know, three things that I looked at, and I have learned this ever since in Shell. CAR, which is capacity or capability, achievement, and your relationship. Yeah, and this is relating to the behaviors that the individual have. Um, a- and probably in this sense, the CAR sits together with the organization and something that they they can detect. But something that we as an individual, even myself, if I enter an interview, I wouldn't know what is your CAR, Shafi. You know, you might see
What's
my
CAR?
capacity or capability, achievement, and relationship.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you might see my capability when it's written. For example, you see my LinkedIn and you say, "Oh, this guy has a lot of experience, 10 years experience in oil and gas and whatnot," and that's a good capability. I think he has that capacity too, you know. And the other thing is, wow, look at his achievements. You say, but something you don't see is my relationship. How would you know,
Yeah.
but that my relationship is good?
Yeah.
How would you know? And that's relating to behavior. You can tell by my C, you can tell by my A, but you can't tell by my R. The R will be questioned during the interview, which is your behavior. How's your relationship with the supervisor? How's your relationship with your mom and dad? How's your relationship with your colleagues and friends? How's your relationship with your superior? So maybe this question is quite generic, and most of the time, oh, it's good. Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
Mm.
And you try to impress the interviewers, and obviously it works. But interviewers will have a kind of a question that and that can capture whether you're telling the truth or not. Um, but that's all based on experience. Betul ah? Experience interview betul ah? So that's why we have a dedicated recruiter or dedicated recruitment department to look into this, because they do trainings and whatnot to identify lah. Again, nobody's perfect. From time to time, we need to learn juga kan.
Mm.
So so it's pretty important to be yourself, Joa. It's pretty important to prepare yourself. Pretty important for you to look into the behaviors that you have. Um, and come prepared saja. You know, one of the things that you can take away from this question is um, how to ace an interview.
Yeah.
You know, if you
Ace.
go, yeah,
That's
how to
very
ace.
specific.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's not how it's not acing the interview. Is how to improve yourself to be better. How to improve yourself to make sure that the next time you go into an interview, there are some few things that you identify that not required to be said. Maybe something along those lines. I would advise each what it is each candidates or each applicants, when they go for interview, ask for feedback. Ask for feedback, and be it negative or positive, that's entirely up to the recruiter. And take it positively, because that way you will be able to grow. And when you're able to grow, you'll be able to improve. The next time you go for interview, you know what you need to say. That's important lah. So I wouldn't acing it. Um, Difficult to say. Because different recruiter have different ways of have the different questionnaires as well, different ways of bringing recruitment questions and whatnot lah. Itulah.
All right. Yeah. Make sure. Yeah. Thank you, Mirol, and that Bruneian dude for the question. Make sure you write those down. So for the next question, by D Su, actually, she is our one of our graphic designers. So, hi Diana, her name is Diana. So, her question
So Diana,
is, what is the best way to handle people who does not want to cooperate? Basically, a bit different. Maybe this in organization lah.
okay, that's always one of the challenging things in human resource, or not only human resource, but in any organization. So the question is how to handle difficult people, correct?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
The best way.
Um, mm, Ini based on experience saja lah ya. I did. I've taken trainings. I've taken coaching from expertise how to deal with difficult people. One of the things that I learned from that training is listening. Um, I think from my point of view, and I think quite a lot of people, listening is the most difficult thing to do.
Yep, I agree.
Um, Sometimes we're selective listener. Sometimes we're um, not listening at all. Sometimes we just when we listen, sometimes we just angan-angan arah lain dia. Um, and that's pretty common. Uh, uh, and when somebody talks to, for example, in this case, I'm talking to Shafi. I'm not sure Shafi is listening. Probably he's a selective listener. He's probably taking just the important points, or probably he's just not listening at all because doing something else. I don't know. I don't know. Tapi the main point is, um, listening is probably one of the key items that you can do, Diana, in this case, to listen. What is actually the problem? Find out the issue. Investigate. Do a bit of understanding there. Go deep dive into it. Sometimes an individual becomes like this because of a situation, maybe at home, because of a situation that happened at work, that caused this individual not to be respectful or being difficult. It comes back to finding out what's the issue, and this is where you being assertive lah. You gotta find out first lah. Investigate dulu, dengar dulu apa curhatnya. Sekiranya curhatnya dia pasal cinta, personal dia kan.
Okay.
What do you do? So what do you do in that case? It's either you say, look, I can only listen to this. I can't do anything, but I'm here for you to, if you like, for me to listen to your conversation, to your curhat lah orang lah dah. Okay, that's just too personal. Atau it could be a problem in terms of work. For certain issue that the individual said, I don't like the way you work, or I don't like the way you handle me. So what do you do? Okay, can you explain better? Can you tell me what do I need to improve? So it takes two to tango in this sense, handling difficult people. And one may obey and one may not. It becomes because you don't want to end up being autocratic, or you want to end up being a very authoritized kind of person. You want to be fair juga sama orang tu kan, so you want to understand apa situationnya kan. So sekiranya you find out it's work, then handle it professionally. And probably the third kind of person that doesn't say, I don't have anything, I have no problem, I have no issue. Ada je orang macam tu. But they're difficult. Ada je orang macam tu. Then you found out it's because the supervisor or the colleague or the one reporting to or whatnot ada issue in terms of not liking the way he or she manage people or manage them. And what do you do if you kind of like that kind of person? What do you do with it? Do you say let him or her come to you, or you can be proactively and say, hey, let's talk. I see discomfort in you when talking to me, and I to be honest with you, everybody is a psychologist. You can actually find out whether your friend or your colleague are not in line with you, um, but if you're a person who can't find out, then that's for you to investigate lah. So listening, do that, and inshallah, then you'll be able to understand the individual. And when you have your differences, this is where you atulah apa bertolak ansur lah, give and take. So basically, okay, I will arrange with yourself a certain time. We can have this conversation. So employee engagement, I call it, or in the HR term, employee engagement is also necessary juga. Not necessary, not bukan saja pasal personal juga kan. It's about you engage with the employees from time to time to understand them juga. It's like put it in a situation when when your parents of two, you have two sons or two daughters, or a son or daughter. What do you do kalau sekiranya they give you that look, that macam nasty look, what's going on, I don't understand my son, or I don't understand my daughter. What do? You talk to them juga. Hindi juga kamu kan marahi dorang dulu kan. You talk to them first. Sama je in this case. This is probably my point of view. We have a child in us, even when we're old, even when we kami boomer. We have a child in us. That child is still living with us. And this is the point. When you have to be engaged, and obviously when you have that son or daughter who are giving you that nasty look, what do? You talk to them, Johan, like ada penilai. What did Baba do? Or what did Papa do? Or whatever it is, or what did Mama do? What did Mama did wrong? Talk to me. And obviously, he or she will come to a point to tell you. And when they do that, you got to listen. And when you listen, make sure you listen attentively. Sorry, not attentively. Attentively. It's important for you. Yeah, attentively. That's not right word. Attentively. So make sure that you pay attention to what they say. There are some key message there, whereby the word or the specific message or statement that really relates to you, and you might need to lower down your ego and make yourself better, and try to talk to the person lah. Itulah. So in this case sama je ceritanya. Kalau in the professional world, you're not going to leave it until you don't want to end up he or she hating you for the rest of your life. In that case, the peluang tu terjadi, tapi mu ada je lah besar kemungkinan je kan. So yeah, you still end up need to lah, be respectful lah. Tapi there are certain people out there juga that I also know, familiar with lah, in the organization that I've worked with. Ada juga itulah, egonya memang tinggi lah. But the professional bit is you have to stay professional, stay respectful lah. Dalam kerja, di luar kerja, biar dia, that as it is lah. There are, and there's no secret about that. Yeah. And I think we all face it juga masa in unis, in schools and whatnot, and this is pretty common. So Diana, I hope this helps. Again, this is probably my view on how you can handle difficult people, and probably the audience could also benefit from out of this. Again, there's so many ways to deal with them, but probably in this case, it's more relating to how we handle our children. Hope that helps.
Oh, very, very good answer. So there's one last question from
Sure.
Fatna. She's actually a friend. Hi Lynn. So the question is, what's the best way for a fresh graduate to market themselves? Capability lah.
Okay, what is the best way for a graduate to market themselves?
Yep.
You know what so being general again in this sort of situation, when I understand the real world out there, There's not only in Brunei, in other countries like in Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, even the Europes. One of the main things that I realized people like to do, or people, being more proactive, is to volunteer, do a charity job, a volunteering job. Out of that, obviously, nada gaji lah tu it's more on based on efforts, based on dedication, based on commitment. There's a strong word that I just said there. So when I say that, it means a person who uh, when a person reads your CV and seen that you have done quite a big charity work or volunteering work, that person will know that you've done something for free, but experiencing it through commitments, dedications, and effort. And that way you can market yourself. That way that when a reader reads your CV, or the recruiter reads your CV and say, okay, this person has this sort of, doesn't have the experience, but has a volunteering sort of experience, even though kalau in a short stint, for example, macam orang 1 bulan or even few days, that's also a commitment. That's also what do you call this, a dedication. And of course, in terms of recruiters, they will probably take advantage to ask you that questions. Those volunteering job, what do you do? Why did you do it? How did you do it? So it goes back to that, Johan. So that kind of help to market a graduate. So not only a graduate, but other young professionals out there, yeah. But one of the key things that I'd like to see in a graduate is actually consistency. When you say you're committed all the way. When you say you're dedicated all the way. Of course, in life, there are sometimes we fluctuate. And I call this the bathtub theory. Ada masanya we high peak, ada masanya low peak kan to. And it's pretty common in this case lah. So again, going back to the question, how do you market yourself? Just make sure that one of the things that you do, you can showcase is your dedication, your commitment, your effort, and probably your usaha lah, in this case. What can be valued out of this in terms of marketing will be experiences juga. So like I said, the program, like I said earlier, the program iRadia tu memang, I think it's a beautiful program. Why it provides that experience opportunity betul. And there you can actually showcase yourself, showcase what you are capable to do. What are you capable to do? If you don't have that, you can't show your capability. You're just there to attend, to be at work, or you're just there not to learn. You're just there to, just to attend saja. Then where's the growth in that kind? So it's important for you to showcase what you're capable. Be proactive, not being reactive, or always apa ni, jangan nato lah, and no action talk only, walk the talk. And all of these are skills, and these skills comes with behavior lah. So I think that's probably it lah. How to market yourself. Inshallah, I think some HR they will have probably more. I'll probably have more je. Tapi at this point, as I can think of. Sorry, Diana.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, not Diana. Lynn.
Lynn, yes. So thank you guys for the questions. Hopefully you guys have gained more insight on and more like answers to that questions. So question from me personally, maybe
Sure.
you can recommend some books, because books is what the things you read is what makes your mind run. So yeah, maybe you can recommend to the audience.
Sure. You know what? I learned a lot. Not one particular book. It's actually a training program, but it has available books to be read. It called Effective 7. Oh my God!
Seven
Effective
Effective
Seven Habits.
Habits by
Yeah,
Stephen Covey. Is it?
correct,
Ah,
correct, correct.
okay.
And now he has his eighth habit.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so I think, but if you can master the seven, you're in the right mind. Because it, just to summarize why I think Seven Effective Habits is actually quite a good book or quite a good program to go through. It teaches you to appreciate life. And when I say appreciate life, it teaches you to appreciate things in front of you.
Mm.
So the job that you have, the how you handle the jobs, and also how you handle your life. It talks about you being proactive, not reactive. It talks about you balance
Mm.
your life with your work, with what you want, and it talks about um, your happiness and your not sadness, I would say, but more like how would you handle yourself, professionally and personally. So and one of the things that I learned from Mr. Covey is actually um, writing. um, I used to dislike writing. Uh, I mean, it takes a lot of effort. Then not realizing actually by writing helps me remember things. Um, you, I'll be honest. My first year with Shell with BLNG, I got no books. I was basically memorizing things because I said to myself, "I'm a graduate. I can remember things."
Mm.
I was just fooling myself. I don't remember things. I end up repeating mistakes, and it's unacceptable for me. You see, and when I repeat, I should be learning from it. Correct?
Yep.
And that's when I was sent to attend. I was very fortunate actually to send to attend for the Seven Habits, and from there I learned lah.
Mm.
And I learned one of the key things are writing things down, making sure that when you write things down, you will actually remember things, and when you remember things, it will be in your head the whole time.
Mm.
So very fortunate at that particular time. I should be thankful to BLNG about that,
Oh,
providing me that opportunity.
so you got sent by BNNG to like, is it a seminar or something? Oh,
Oh, no, no. Um, so Seven Habits, there's a course actually.
course, yeah. Sorry.
There's a course. So they have it in Brunei once
Mm.
upon a time. They also have it in Malaysia.
Mm.
But I
Yeah.
was lucky enough to get in Brunei lah, ha, because it's in the house Johan.
Mm.
So been taught by certified Seven Habit facilitators, and really helped me actually. Like I said, one of the things that I don't like to do is writing, and ever since I took that program, that course, I've been writing, and I could show you my tons of books, but yeah, I won't turn that way now. Yeah, so I have tons of books that I have that I keep track of what I write, and
Mm.
it makes me remember lah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, about the book, and haven't have read it like 3 years ago, but I haven't finished it. But definitely, I would recommend it to other people. Yeah, it's very helped me in many ways, especially in dealing with people and understanding people. So yeah, check that book, guys. Seven Effective Habits of Successful People, right?
Yep, correct. 7 modules, guys.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going into the end of the podcast, the show. So maybe parting thoughts from Adi. Do you have any thought advices for the graduates or any viewers out there looking for a job?
Yeah, actually, I do. I believe in purpose. I believe in niyat. nawaitu atau so make sure that you have the proper niat and make sure you have the proper purpose and always include in every niat is karena Allah juga. So one thing I've learned in my work professional world is to be appreciative, to be grateful, but to be grateful of what Allah has given to us. So any rezeki that we have, take it and bersyukur. And when that happens, inshallah you have more rezeki juga. So rezeki ini it comes in many forms lah. Rezeki kesihatan, rezeki umur, and so on juga. Um, and this is quite common because one of my mentors also provide actually most of my mentors have the same thoughts on this, and I learned a lot from them. And tiap kali tani bersyukur, tiap kali tani niat kerana Allah, then inshallah everything will come. Everything will come. And when it comes, and that's when you have to prepare yourself lah. So, and the thing is, why I said that is, when it comes, I mean, based on experience, when it comes, you'll be overwhelmed, very overwhelmed. And when you're very overwhelmed, you don't know how to manage things. And this is probably one of the challenges that Allah likes to give to us, to all of us, when Allah put us in a site where Allah does not give us anything yet, but it will come. And when it comes, what would you do? So tani bersyukurlah. So niat itu important. And sebagai Islam, kata Islam, so apologies for non-Muslims, because I'm into this sort of approach juga kan. Tani jaga tani punya solat lah. Tani jaga solat ke tani, insyaAllah Allah akan jaga tani juga. So make doa, do your salah. Inshallah Allah SWT akan repay us back or give us what we need. Jangan stop asking for rezeki lah. So yeah, so all graduates, young professionals, job seekers, I would say do your best, usaha, make an effort, don't give up. It will come, inshallah, it will come. And when it comes, I will tell you, you will be the happiest person in the world. And when that happens, jangan lupa bersyukur. Jangan syukur kepada Allah, because that's what I believe. He's the one who provides us. Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Shafi, for this opportunity. Thank you for looking up my LinkedIn, Joa. Again, I think as I personally mentioned that most of this answers will be on a personal basis, Joa. Based on my experience, Johan, there's a lot of HR professionals out there, Joa, who likes to venture into HR, Joa. So I'm pretty sure they'll probably have the same view or probably a different view. But at the end of the day, what I have shared is not my own benefit. What I've shared is for everybody's own benefit. Just one last thing. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam ever mentioned that always share your knowledge and always be fair. And that's what I'm doing. I will always share my knowledge and as much as I can to be fair with everybody. And that's what I've been doing, inshallah.
Actually, one last question. So
okay,
people might wonder us more, since there's more to it than this podcast. So where can people connect with you or ask you questions?
Well, you got my LinkedIn. Just connect with me through there. Whether it's a random question or whatnot, I will do my best to answer the question. Quite recently, I got a few people asking the same, few people asking questions. But I will do my best to answer it because I still have to juggle between my professional job, Johan.
Yeah.
So I will look into it when I have time. I will answer it when I have time. But I will do my best to answer lah. So look up through my LinkedIn with the name Pangeran
Yeah,
Adi. Inshallah, you'll find me.
I'll link put the link in the description down below lah. So
Sure, no problem.
yeah. So thank you, Adi, Pangeran Adi, for your time, your knowledge, and your experience, and thank you to the audience as well for tuning in. If you are a student, do comment down below what course you are taking, so maybe we can connect more. And yeah, so thanks once again. Hopefully, you guys, we all benefit from this, and we'll end the episode. Yeah, we'll end the episode right
Inshallah.
now. Bye bye. Thank you.